The Joan of Arc Replay by Pierre Barbet. A French pharmacist named Claude Avis was also a fairly prolific science fiction author under the pen name Pierre Barbet. He was active between 1962 and 1991 and passed away in July 1995. Wikipedia offers a long list of stories written by Barbet, but it's not clear which are novels and which are short stories, and I was unable to find a great deal of information about him. I believe only a handful of his works were ever translated into English. I first became aware of Pierre Barbet by reading the Daw edition of his novel Baphomet's Meteor. Baphomet is the goat-headed devil or deity, depending on whose side of the story you believe. Some people pronounce it Baphomet. Baphomet was allegedly a secret of the Freemasons, so there was a bit of conspiracy and mystical intrigue in the public consciousness to help drive sales of the novel. The Joan of Arc replay begins with a couple of non-human Galactic Federation academics discussing the theory of recurring cycles in history. These non-humans are not described in detail, but they seem to be plasma creatures encased in spheres which protect and supply them with whatever nutrients or energetic food a plasma being requires. One of these energetic academics, Celsar, posits that the story of Joan of Arc, so well known on Earth, will play out again on a similar planet in the galaxy. This planet is called Noldaz, near the star Sigma 32, which very closely resembles Earth of the 15th century. Celsar's superior, his boss, Earnin, seems to oppose his thesis, but they agree to a sort of gentleman's wager. Clothing their plasma bodies in flesh, they visit the planet Noldaz, posing as itinerant astrologers. They position themselves in the kingdom of Lank, which roughly corresponds to France of the 15th century. The people of Lank are at war with the incels, aggressors who are playing the part of the English in this tale. The name of the group is spelled INCL. Unsure of the intended pronunciation of that name, I've chosen to call them incels, which is a word I'm sure most viewers will recognize. Sure enough, there is a virginal young maid named Leanne who has offered her services to the king, saying she was told by heavenly counselors to help her king defeat the incels. Celsar gets caught up in this primitive game of influence and wants to throw Galactic Federation rules to the winds. They're supposed to be mere observers, but Celsar wants to actually shape the history of this emerging culture. He manages to have his boss, Earnin, imprisoned as a sorcerer. Now he's free to do pretty much whatever he likes. He uses the technology aboard his starship to help Leanne win several decisive battles, thereby thwarting the incels' attempts to absorb the Lank kingdom into their empire. The story is mostly heroic fiction. A great deal of detail is given to the weapons and ships of the era. Some exploration of their superstitious resistance to technology is provided as well. Celsar arranges for Earnin to be burned at the stake as a sorcerer. Now that sounds like a pretty horrible thing for someone to do to their boss, but it's not really such a bad thing after all. Earnin is a plasma being, and the incineration of his false body does him no real harm, simply frees his plasma form to be observed by the crowd watching his execution. The light display that occurs when his energetic body is released from flesh is taken as a sign from an archangel that they have done the right thing by executing this sorcerer. Meanwhile, Celsar becomes Lian's chief military commander, vanquishing the incels and instructing the Lonks in shipbuilding. He informs them that there's an unknown continent across the ocean and persuades them to sail there. The plan is to take control of this new world, forcing the natives to speak their language. Their long-term goal is unifying the planet under a single peaceful government. Celsar grows accustomed to his human form and soon finds himself falling in love with Lian. They become a couple and proceed to carry out the Empire's agenda in the New World. Celsar will live much longer than his human wife, but he intends to remain in this world until after she dies, content to live as a human among humans. When he least expects it, a team of Galactic Federation beings arrive and force him out of his human form and return him to his home world. There's a lot more to the story, and I don't feel I've told so much as to ruin the reading of it for anyone else. The cover art of this edition was created by Carol Thole. It's not bad, but nowhere near as cool as some of the other groovy art Thole produced in his career. Look him up online and check out some of the other covers this guy created. I think they're really cool. The humanoids of Norval, however, were said to have had mauve-colored skin. I guess nobody told Thole about that. The Joan of Arc replay by Pierre Barbet is an entertaining way to spend a few hours. Nothing really new or memorable here, just a good old-fashioned story in the pulp fiction tradition. Thanks for viewing, and be sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this channel.